We are now starting to see some very interesting things being released around India's UPI system, which is a unified payments interface system. And it does pertain back to Ripple and XRP in very large ways. And we are going to be diving deep on into this and talking about this as well in depth. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's start off with the connections to Ripple specifically regarding the UPI system. Now, I have this opened up over here so that we could read into this a little bit better. But here we have from subjective views, UPI surpasses 100 billion transactions. How many Ripple partners do you see? A few of these banks and non-banks who have adopted this public digital infrastructure, UPI, are known Ripple partners. In 2023 into 2024, UPI achieved a significant milestone of crossing 100 billion yearly transactions, showcasing the robust infrastructure and user trust in digital finance in India. The March 2024 data revealed a 55% increase in volume and a 40% increase in value compared to the previous year, affirming UPI's pivotal role in shaping the future of digital payments both domestically and internationally. Now, if we go over here, we have the full breakdown of UPI going global, adoption in different countries, because it's not just India, it's actually globally at this point. Now we have Bhutan. Now we do know Ripple's connections back to the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan around CBDCs and things like that. Then, of course, we have Malaysia, then Singapore. Then we also have Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, and even Japan, UAE. Then Nepal, the UAE again, France, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, Oman, the UAE again, London, and then Sri Lanka. Now, the thing that's crazy about this is look at the names tied to these announcements, like the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan. Ripple is working with them, okay? PayNow. Ripple has worked with PayNow. And this is also the Monetary Authority of Singapore, which they already have a license with. Then this is Liquid Group. We don't have any connections back to Liquid Group, but we have a few other ones here, like for an example, Lulu Financials, another big one. We also have TerraPay, PayExpert, Worldline, some pretty big names on here, but a lot of the names that are listed here do work with or have exposure to Ripple and even XRP, which I find very interesting. Now, this is not the only connection. In fact, just recently, Navin Gupta, which you guys do know is a previous Ripple employee, put out a post on August 29th. We have yesterday, they unveiled the Finternet to bring all real-world assets on chain ledgers to unlock credit and financial services to the underserved. Now, what I find interesting about this is Navin Gupta did leave Ripple. There is no connection to Ripple at all in this image, and we have a few major players being tagged here. MPCI, which is one of the big players behind UPI. Then we also have Crystal Platform as well, and Ripple. I find it very interesting that Ripple is being tagged here. And this is the image. Real world and digital assets will be represented as tokens. Tokens are self-describing and self-contained packets that can be chained together. Tokens are back to the future. Just like paper, digital tokens restore control back to users. And then we also have cryptographic advances in immutability, verifiability, security, and privacy. The Finternet enables universal interoperability and composability. But I find it just crazy that this is all based around the Finternet, aka the Internet of Value. And we know who tagged this first, right? Remember that the Finternet is something that the BIS has been starting to really kind of call the Internet of Value, which Ripple did first. They were like the first ones to actually say like, hey, we're doing something called the Internet of Value. And all of a sudden the BIS is now starting with the Finternet, which is basically the same exact thing. But now we have Navin Gupta talking about this and tagging specific players here. Players that are also creators of UPI. And this is why we speculate that Ripple has been working on UPI with India. Now also, Big shout out to ISO 2022. Let's do it. This goes all the way back to June of 2023. Ripple is partners with both TerraPay and NPCI, who collaborated to make UPI in India. And here we have Ripple in talks with NPCI to facilitate account transfers globally. And by the way, NPCI is the same ones being tagged here by Navin Gupta. Then also over here, Ripple partner TerraPay acquired by Investor Group. Then also over here, TerraPay and NPCI International collaborate to drive seamless merchant payments via UPI-enabled QR codes. Again, we can clearly see the connections here. Now also, we have over here, we all know that Ripple has been working with the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan to run its pilot scheme for their digital Nagotram CBDC, which was also pegged to the Indian rupee at par. And we have in this clip, the governor of RBI speaks about the notable progress that has been made between India and countries such as Bhutan for cross-border remittances. And this is the Reserve Bank of India. But check this out.
We are now focusing on making the UPI and the RuPay truly global. The deployment of UPI-like infrastructure in foreign jurisdictions, facilitating QR code-based payment acceptance through UPI apps at international merchant locations, and interlinking UPI with fast payment systems in other countries for cross-border remittances are on top of our agenda. Notable progress in this direction has already been made with countries like Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Singapore, the UAE, Mauritius, Namibia, Peru, France, and a few other countries. Bhutan,
Ignition sequence. And of course, there's a little bit of a meme here, but for the most part, right, it does make sense on the fact that Ripple is a key player around all of this. And we've talked about why, yes, right now we're not really seeing XRP jumping in value because of these, partnerships and these announcements and these potential partnerships and things like that. We're not at the stages of scalable use case potential around crypto. We still need guardrails in place. That's why I've always said, listen, as everyone is complaining, as everyone's getting frustrated, think about the last obstacle in our way, right? Imagine getting out of the race while you're at that last final stage. You're right there. All you have to do is cross the finish line. And the only thing in our way is regulations. Yet so many people are just jumping out now. They're getting shaken out. And they're giving up. And I just find it crazy that we're right there. We're right there on the edge. And all we have to do is just wait for regulations. That's the only thing that's holding us back. And I've been very transparent about that. But also, this is a very big deal. Why? Well, just recently, and we're talking about less than 24 hours ago, we have the role of non-banks and fintechs in boosting India's UPI person-to-merchant transactions, all based on the Unified Payments Interface. This got posted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. I did a summarization with ChatGPT. We have the UPI in India has rapidly expanded, particularly in person-to-merchant transactions, due in large part to the involvement of non-banks and fintech companies. Initially used mainly for person-to-person payments, UPI has grown to become India's most popular digital payment method, now processing over 75% of the country's retail digital payments. Non-banks and fintechs have played a crucial role in this growth by offering third-party apps, merchant services, and consumer credit, and by enabling the expansion of UPI P2M payments internationally. Key drivers behind the rise in UPI P2M transactions include government initiatives like the Jan Dharan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity, which I'm hoping that I'm saying that correctly, demonetization in 2016, the COVID-19 pandemic, and innovations by the National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI. Again, that's that company behind UPI. The NPCI's focus on creating an open source architecture and common standards has allowed non-banks and fintechs to enter the market easily, facilitating UPI's widespread adoption and integration with digital commerce. Non-banks and fintechs have contributed by providing user-friendly apps, deploying QR codes for merchants, offering business management solutions, and extending credit lines to consumers. They have also enabled UPI payments to be accepted internationally through partnerships with fintechs in other countries. This strategic collaboration has not only transformed India's payment landscape, but also laid the groundwork for global interoperability in digital payments. UPI is very crucial. India is also very crucial, especially as we do also focus on the BRICS, right? BRICS is expanding rapidly. India is a very big piece of that puzzle. This is crucial information to know. Now, also, over here, and big shout out to Andrew for this, we have India's faster payment system, aka UPI, Ripple, will interoperate with their CBDC system. This is around the Finternet. Yes, I do believe that Quant is also playing a big role around this. This has been a major question of central banks around the world. Should they focus on faster payments or focus on back-end DLT systems like the BIS? The Central Bank of India has solved this with the interlinking of these systems through interoperability of the CBDC, aka Finternet, with faster payment systems, aka the Internet of Value. Ladies and gentlemen, here you have it. One giant quantum leap for mankind. Check this out.
Really be interesting to follow up, especially the link between the retail CBDC and the existing payment system. I think this is a question that many central banks face, which is how much weight should be put on fast payment systems, how much on retail CBDCs. I think what you've described is that you're designing it from the ground up to make sure that these two systems are interoperable. But I would like to follow up on that in the second.
So yeah, everything needs to have interoperability tied to it, because we can't have this be fragmented. Everything needs to work in unison. And that's why we really kind of look at what Quant is doing, and we look at all these connections with Ripple, because listen, as we look at all of the individuals at these meetings, India is a very big key player. And all of the work that is happening in some of these key areas around the world, right? We've talked about the UK, for an example. The UK is also pushing ahead very, very fast around utilizing, digital technologies, adopting, frameworks, really kind of pushing forward. We got to remember that Quant, right, with Overledger is already tied into the UK government. So as we look at what's happening, yes, there is some very key, I would argue, innovations happening in some of these areas where they're already kind of pushing into the digital age of payments and finance. We're just kind of waiting for all of these other nations to really kind of move forward. We're still waiting on the US to actually kind of catch a little bit of the drift of what's happening and finally say, all right, yeah, maybe we should start to innovate. Maybe we should start to accept what's happening here instead of fighting back against it, which, we've talked about that on multiple occasions. But there is some very large work being done. Like, this is no joke. And as we look at the connections, yes, Ripple is there along the way. They're there every step of the way, in my opinion. And I also think that, we're getting some breadcrumbs here from some previous employees at Ripple where we see Ripple being tagged. And I just find it very interesting because Ripple was not even, tied to this at all. So we definitely have to look at the connections here. And the connections are, listen, Ripple is behind UPI. There is no doubt in my mind. And the reason why I say that is because the connections are there. You look at not only all of the partnerships that are on this list with UPI that are tied back to Ripple, but you also have to look at, those discussions that Ripple was already in with, for example, the MPCI, or even with TerraPay. And then you also have to look at some of those, big announcements that happened with, for example, the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan with, their CBDC. You just can't make this stuff up. And this is also why I've always said that Ripple has been chosen along the way as a key player and a key accelerator of, digital payments in these areas. So I do agree with Andrew here, where we do have Ripple and also Quant. They're the two key players that have been handpicked by the BIS. The only two players that we know of currently that have been handpicked by the BIS. So think about that. They're the only two names with the BIS, which tells me that not only Ripple, but also Quant are 100% key players behind this new world of finance and the new financial system that is rising, aka the Finternet and the Internet of Value. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.